everybody. Do you wish you could find a happily ever after with work? You're in the right place. You're listening to the Workplace Fairytale podcast. I'm your host, Zohreh Yamin, CEO of The Human Priority, where we join with you to create your own workplace fairytale. This is episode 1, and today we are talking about demystifying culture. So, I wanted to say also, because I'm so excited to be here with you. If you're enjoying this podcast, are you enjoying it? I'm really enjoying it. Okay. If you're enjoying this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Okay. All jokes aside, I am very glad to be here with you, and I have been working on it for quite a bit of time. And so I have decided to boldly step out and share with you things that I think are really important to have a phenomenal work environment. And so there is something important about the introduction that I left out, which is that this is a podcast where we help you replace the suck at work with joy. I think I left that out. If not, you heard it twice. And so culture is one of those things where you can feel it, but you can't see it. It's very much the tangible in the room that's intangible. And so when it comes, it's something that we see as really big and hard to change. And so sometimes we don't tackle it. We don't try and change organizational culture, but it is absolutely essential that we do just that. So let's talk about some of the whys and the myths around culture. So one myth is that you can control it and you can mandate it. You can buy it, incentivize it. Fortunately or unfortunately, none of those are true. Culture is the very fabric of your organization that is made up of multiple touch points in how you perceive yourself as leaders, your employees, your team, your clients, your communities, your services, your products, the way you interact with each other, the way you communicate, and the values that you hold, the integrity with which you demonstrate those values. And in a myriad of decisions that you make every day, you demonstrate to your team, to your clients, to your communities, what your organization stands for, and that all combines to make up your organizational culture. Now, so let's go to another myth. Another myth is that it's too unwieldy, and a lot of you already know that. You knew you couldn't mandate it, right? If you could, it would be super easy. We'd say this is going to be our culture. Let's do it. We know it doesn't work that way. So another thing that's a myth that we do tend to believe more. So the first myths that I was saying about kind of we can buy it, incentivize it, mandate it. We 99.9% of us know that, hey, no, there's no way we can do that. This other myth, and I will get to it, I promise, is that it's too big to change. There's just too many complex myriad factors that make up our organizational culture, and it becomes something organic, and that we might be better served, if that's the case, to focus on our leadership style, our vision, our mission, our communication plans, our leadership training, and not to tackle this big intangible that's, as I said, absolutely tangible. I keep hitting the microphone. I'm just getting used to it being here. So So why is that a myth? It is true that it's complex and there's a myriad of data points or sources that make up our organizational culture. The part that's a myth is that it's too big and or too complex to change. We can absolutely change it. All you have to do is go out there and Google some phenomenal transformational stories where companies did transform and change their culture. I personally have seen it happen many times. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Yes. So let's just bust that myth right up and say, hey, yes, it's complex, and yes, it can be changed, and yes, it is so, so worth it. So I'm just going to look at my notes, see where I want to go next here. So I think I already covered this, but let's just, let me highlight a little bit that it shapes almost everything. So what happens is when a new employee is hired, for example, by the time they're out of new employee orientation and they're going to work with their department or unit, within sometimes the first day, for sure by the second week, they've figured out whether this culture is something that validates their decision to come work for you or screams that they've made a big mistake, meaning that the very welcome that they have, how people are treating them, what that environment's like, whether they're going to be seen as an individual and a person, be accepted for that and be encouraged to be who they are, or whether they're going to need to pretend to kind of go along and fit in, or they could get in trouble. All of those things are shaped by your culture, right? And so when we talk about culture here at the Workplace Fairytale, which I hope you'll come back and be with us in this land where we can absolutely have joy in the workplace, we're talking about environments that have high trust, high respect, and high collaboration. There's many other elements that can influence culture and be a part of culture. But the reason that I pick those for us to focus on is they are the most transformational. When people feel that they can trust you and that you trust them, that transforms the fabric of every interaction, right? Because when people are real, a lot of different things happen. One, they're more creative. They are more invested. They bring their passion to work. Other things, about the problems they're facing. They don't feel they have to hide them from you. You can have better relationships because they can tell you what they need or how they feel. And so that trust just cascades throughout the organization and positive things happen. High respect. Now, in today's workplace, there's rightly so a lack of tolerance for disrespect, right? Because it can turn into things where we're not inclusive and we're not treating each other the way that we need to in the workplace. However, it doesn't mean that it's as easy as we would think, right? So what one person finds respectful might not be important to another. So, for example, some people, and by the way, this necklace is a dragon and I love it. And so that's our theme with Workplace Fairytale, is that we have these dragons, but they can be tamed, right? And so I've been wearing this since we came up with the concept and decided to go live with the podcast. And so the dragon is with me, boldly stepping out to be here with you today. And I'm very excited about that. We were talking about the importance of respect, and it can be different for each of us. One person can feel it's very disrespectful to be late to a meeting. I mean, they can literally think that you disrespect their time, you disrespect them. They can actually become very offended and very angry. Another person is typically late. Okay, put in the comments which you are. Okay, so is typically late, doesn't find it disrespectful at all, and actually feels that you would be having compassion with them as a team member if you saw that they had been running around, probably didn't have anything to eat or drink that day, and offered them your protein bar, right? So it's like two people having these very different experiences. So when we want a culture of high respect, where we have to start is there's some basics, right? We're going to talk kindly about each other. We're going to use calm tones of voice. We're going to listen to one another. We're going to be inclusive. But there's also this component of understanding who your team member is and what's important to them, and showing them respect in that. The high collaboration, the reason that that's so important is that's where we get the beautiful things that happen when team members come together. And so the reason that the high trust, high respect, high collaboration are important, and it relates back to this idea of, is culture too big or too complex to change, is it is complex, but yes, we can change it. And one of the important ways we change it is by understanding how we think about each other, feel about each other, treat each other, and in both our interactions, in the decisions we make that impact the whole enterprise, that those are the things that affect the fabric of our culture, and that you actually can create a vision for the culture you want, bring a team around you and share that, and then you all can start to work on embracing, embodying, demonstrating those qualities, the high trust, high respect, and high collaboration in everything you do. So I'm going to talk more about this at another episode. Guess which one? Episode 2, and get into more detail about how you can up-level your culture. But for now, what I'd like to share is that, as Mac would say, we don't need to be scared about changing culture. We can be excited. We can be confident. We actually can do it. And if you're wondering who this mysterious Mac is, just write in the comments, and I bet she'll respond for us. But she's a phenomenal person that's been helping behind the scenes get us ready for this podcast, and I so appreciate that. So I'm going to wrap up here now, and I'm going to I'm torn. So I had this little story I wanted to tell you, but then I thought it's not fully fleshed out. So should I wait? But I tell you what, before we wrap up, let me do a very little start to the story. So once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a magical dragon. And this dragon, instead of breathing fire, she breathed bubbles. And anyone that saw her laughed and laughed and laughed, because she had a huge dragon smile and iridescent bubbles. And so the reason that I wanted to tell you that story is that when we create space for laughter and joy in our work environments, we transform our culture. So find your version of the magical dragon and let joy be a part of your workplace, and it will do magic in terms of transforming your culture. Now I'm going to find the page where I wrote the conclusion, but I tell you what, I have a goal by episode 4 to have memorized the intro and conclusion and not have to look at it. So if you'll give me some grace, I'm going to ask for 3 more episodes. So thank you for being here with me today and listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you achieve your workplace fairy tale, email me anytime, Yamin, YAMIN, @thehumanpriority.com. We're going to be having guests on shows. We'd love to have you as a guest. You can email me there and let me know. We're also going to be taking questions, so email away your questions about having joy in the workplace. Would love, love, love to hear from you. So here's the wrap. See you next time. Have a great day and enjoy creating your workplace fairy tale. Bye, y'all. Yes, I did grow up in Georgia.